Number 2. That's awesome. I should have 4 keepers right now. Let's get them in the box. Found me a little pre-spawn bassy bass. What's up, guys? We are making our way through spring and into summer. This next video is just going to be a compilation of kind of springtime flipping. It's one of those things that I used to not have a ton of confidence with. Throw a Texas rig bottom bait out there and not be real happy with kind of the results, right? I don't know why I'm throwing it. I don't know where I'm throwing it. These next 2 videos are going to cover Kentucky Lake. Well, it's one video wrapped into one, but it's a couple different trips all around the same time frame to give you a good general idea of what flipping cover actually looks like. Those bass love transitioning to hard cover, to wood, to logs, to bushes if you're on Kentucky Lake. And man, that flipping bite can be a lot of fun if you figure it out. I really do like that heavier, dirtier water for flipping. It really seems to push those fish tighter to the cover. There's a handful of baits in these videos that I throw, and pretty much all of them are on either flipping a tube or a popping frog. Now, there's all kinds of different popping frogs on the market. It's all personal preference. My favorite is the Spro. Either a black, your crystal shad, your red ear. That really works well in dirty water. And then also that brown popping frog as well. A lot of guys don't throw the brown, gives the bass a little bit different look, and you're not working it as fast. I'm not doing just a twitch, 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 twitch. I'm trying to pop it, let it sit. Pop it, let it sit. And then if you get a swirl, you get a bite, you can do a short pop or let it sit, and then make another cast if they don't commit to it, and just try it all over again, right? But I really love that Spro popping frog. It's one of my staple baits in the spring going into summer, and I love throwing the frog. We got a frog eaters only video that I'm working on right now. That'll be the next one after this one. So you guys should really enjoy that. There's some great eats on that one, and I love that video, and I love getting to work on it. Also too, a lot of guys love flipping a creature bait, right? A brush hog or like a Strike King Rage bug, even the Bandito bug by Guggen Baits, and those are all great. The problem is everybody's throwing them. Hands down, my number 1 go-to bait, the first bait I'm gonna flip, the bait that caught all these flipping fish in this video is gonna be a Gambler tube. This is a black with a chartreuse bottom, and it's got some red flake in it as well. This is hands down what put me onto the tube. I used to always be a creature bait kind of flipping guy, but the thing with a tube is there's no extra appendages for those bass to grab and then pick it up and spit it off the bed. If they hit this tube, they are on it. Like G-Man says, they don't have pockets. If you feel a bite, you got them. You'll actually see the first clip of this video is where I made 3 different casts into a bush before I finally got a bite. I made the mistake of when they did have the bite and the fish is swimming off with it. Number 1, I slacklined them, so I didn't have all the slack pulled out of my line before I set the hook. Number 2, I waited too long. I waited way too long to set the hook on this fish because if he's carrying the bait off, there's only one place he can have it, and it ain't in his pocket. So make sure you hammer him, and hammer him quick. Another thing that you'll see reoccurring, a couple of the fish that I lose between Kentucky Lake and Old Hickory, is I set the hook to the side. That's something I've really gotten away from. This isn't a Carolina rig. It's not a spinner bait. It's not a crankbait. I want that hook driving up into the roof of that fish's mouth. So whenever you feel that bite, you want to reel down and you want to set the hook up if at all possible. That really seemed to improve my hookup ratio. And the big one I lost on Kentucky Lake, oh man, that one still haunts me. I set the hook to the side. Just got in too big of a hurry, was too close to the cover, did not set myself up for success, so try to learn from my mistakes. Another reason I love the tube is it's really easy for me to rig it as weedless as possible. I like either throwing a 3/8 or a 1/4 ounce weight depending on the depth and the kind of the bottom. Whether it's a rock bottom, I'm gonna go 3/8. If it's like a silt or a mud, that 1/4 really gives that bait time to spiral down in front of that fish's face, making sure you don't get snagged. It also keeps it higher up in the water column where those fish can feed up, and you're not just driving it down in the silt or mud bottom. If you've never been to Old Hickory or you haven't fished it a lot, if you don't have a lot of confidence in your flipping bite, I highly recommend dropping the trolling motor, finding a creek with a bunch of wood in dirtier water that's stable, not cloudy, but stable dirty water, and just flip. The more cast you make, the better you'll get at it. And it's just one of those things that takes time. So for me, when I'm rigging up that Texas weight for that tube, I like a 5/0 trocar hook. Those trocars have got a fantastic hook point. I mean, the way it's beveled, the way it's bent, any of the fish that I lost on this hook were my fault. Not because of the gear or the hook. So Wu Tungsten also makes a great tungsten weight. It's all personal preference on that. I feel like the weight size is a lot more relevant than the brand of weight that you use. It's all personal preference. So I'm gonna take that tube, I'm gonna go through right to the part of that hook bend. I'm gonna go ahead and push it out. I'm then gonna bring it the whole way down, and I want my knot inside that tube. What that's also gonna do is when your weight comes down on top of it, I don't have that weight hitting my knot. So it doesn't weaken the line itself either. So now I'm gonna take that tube, or I'm gonna take that hook, I'm gonna push it inside of the bottom of the tube like that. If you have a hard enough hook set and a short enough cast, you can leave it like that. My personal preference is to go ahead and bring it through the bottom like that. Now I'm gonna pinch the tube and I'm gonna skin hook it, just like that. That right there ensures that I've got a good weedless bait, but when that fish hits it and he grabs that bait, I'm gonna get a tremendous hook set, and this has landed me a lot of fish, and you'll see that in the video. A lot of guys like flipping 20-pound test, and that's fine, but a lot of guys like flipping 20-pound test. So I actually like dropping down to 17. That's the heaviest line that I flip with. You might have to check your line and retie a little bit more often than if you're throwing 20. But for me, I like the fall rate that I get with a 3/8 and a 1/4 ounce weight on 17-pound test, and Seaguar makes a tremendous 17-pound. Also in terms of rod and reel, I'm throwing it on a 7-3-1. Quantum doesn't even make this anymore. It's a Quantum Smoke Tournament Series, but it's a great reel. Again, reels are all personal preference, right? But that higher gear ratio, either a 7-3-1, a 7-5-1, or like an 8-1 or an 8-3-1, is really gonna allow you to catch back up to that bass. Now, I've broken a lot of rods, I've gone through a lot of rods. Hands down, my favorite rod is gonna be this. It's got a shorter profile buttstock, so I'm not running into myself when I'm trying to flip and pitch. I'm not hitting myself with it, but it is the M1 Vortex. This is a 7.2 extra fast action, medium heavy. You can throw just about whatever you want on this rod. I have found, I've thrown Cashian, I've thrown Dobbins, I've thrown a bunch of different brands of rods, and out of all of them, this 7.2 is absolutely the most sensitive that I have ever used. It's also very durable. I've never broken an eyelet or an eye tip. I've never broken one of these rods due to the rod failing, due to a hook set. As long as you take care of your gear, it's gonna last you. If that fish sniffs, farts, or looks at your bait while you are using this rod, you're gonna know about it. I've had times where I'm sitting dead still and working over a piece of cover, and I can literally feel that fish come up behind the bait and push it. You can also do it where your line's tight and you can tap the butt of the rod. I love this 7.2. Also, I've found that a lot of guys like flipping a 7.3 or like a 7.6. When you're in and around those close, tight quarters pitches, or you're trying to get in between those bushes on Kentucky Lake, that 7.2 seems to make a world of difference, at least for me. I know everybody says an inch doesn't really matter. If your girl says that to you, it's because she loves you, and take care of her. But that 7.2 versus a 7.3, I've found that I'm actually able to be a lot more accurate with it as opposed to like a 7.3, a 7.4, or like a 7.6. So this is my personal preference. I've also got a couple of these in a 7.4 for my spinnerbait and chatterbait rods. Great parabolic bend. This 7.2 loads up exactly like it's supposed to, and the sensitivity for me is just out of this world. The best part is, I want to say they're like $185. So it is a little bit higher on the price spectrum, but at the same time, it's not at the top end either. Sportsman's Warehouse sells these. You can buy them direct. What I found too is that whenever I'm going into a store to buy a rod, take a reel with you. Take a reel. Most stores don't care. Take a reel, spool up the line, and grab the end of that line and pull that rod to see what your parabolic bend looks like. Is it what you want it to be? Don't guess. If you're gonna spend close to $200 on a reel, make sure it's what you want. And for me, when I saw these 7.2s, I saw the way they loaded up, and then I started fishing with them, man, anytime you get a bite, even on slackline, you can feel it. I wish I would have had this rod when I fished the Kentucky Lake tournament. I didn't at the time. I was throwing a 7.3 Cashian. Guess what? Cost me a couple bites. Cashian makes a great rod, but it does not have the level of sensitivity that these M1 Vortexes do. I literally cannot rave about these rods enough. I hope this intro information helps you understand the video a little bit better. That's one of my big things, is trying to get you guys to understand, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I fishing this way? What am I pitching with? You don't have to pause the screen and try to zoom in and try to see what I'm using. This is my go-to confident staple bait for flipping and pitching in the spring. They've got a bunch, Gambler has a bunch of different colors of tubes, but you really only need the green pumpkin or that black and chartreuse. Hopefully this information can help you guys and you can take it out into the world and catch some more fish. If you don't have a lot of confidence in your flipping and pitching bite, I highly recommend you start with a tube. It'll increase your hookup ratio. They fish super weedless. You can pitch in the heaviest of cover and work that bait out. And then hopefully get bit. I hope you guys enjoy the video. There'll be more to come. Caught you yesterday. This is the same one we caught yesterday. That's awesome. I cannot believe she bit again like it. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Healthy keeper. That's number 2. That's awesome. I should have 4 keepers right now. Let's get them in the box. Awesome. Get in this boat, you big ass. Let's go, son. Let's freaking go. God dang. Freaking choked it, son. Freaking choked it. He smoked it. He grabbed it. Boom. Those are the kind of bites we need, guys. We got 3 keepers in the box, and we only need 2 more. Man, this is awesome. This boat. Fucking the line was hung up. I knew I had a bite.
I was like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. Hey! Finally caught us a nice, healthy, chunky bass. That's about a 2 1/4. Let's check it. Yes, sir. We'll take it. Right in the roof of that mouth. That is a stud, son. A straight up stud. Oh man, that's awesome. Found me a little pre-spawn bassy bass. Well, she might be. Nah, I think this one's in the middle of spawning right here. That's sick. That's sick. Let's get a weight on her. What an awesome, healthy, beautiful bass. That was a great bite. Man, I love flipping. It might not be a keeper, but that sure was a lot of fun. Little male bass. Starting to put the puzzle together. Buck bass out around the outside bush. Right on. Yep. He's on a bed. That's what you want. Well, that was sick. Missed him, flip back in there, catch him. God dang, I'm having a fun day. I've never fished here in my life, or back in this area. That's a chunky, healthy 2-pounder, I'd say. Let's see. Coming with it also. No! I shouldn't have done that. He ain't big, but by God, he's been eating good. Females. Females up there showing, huh? Man, fat gut. They're all fat. They've been eating good.